Okay, hi, Nik Haley here. I thought I'd just do a little video today about the new Albion Solstice library. There's a lot of discussion about it online, as there often is with Spitfire's new releases. Many people saying they think it's going to sound too ubiquitous too quickly, and everyone's going to download it and start, putting down one note evos over everything. And I guess I just wanted to prove that that's hopefully not entirely true, and that with a little bit of mixing in with other libraries, a little bit of artistry, and craft, that you can make these raw materials, and really those of any library, sound original, become more your sound. For me, this library ties in already with a lot of the library music I do, which is often quite folky, adventure, fantasy style music, and orchestral. And of course this features both orchestral and the kind of synthy, the cassette orchestra element, where it's all mangled sounds, which is something that Spitfire does really well. I tend to not use that side of things that much. I will layer up a synth pad, but usually I'm just interested in the more instrumental patches. But to be honest, like most of these big libraries, it has something for everyone. So I thought I'd share with you what happened. I saw, as we all did, the Spitfire advertising go nuts for this product, and I was at a cycle where I considered myself due for one. So it's been a little bit of time since I last had a new library, and because as I say, it ties in with my style, I decided to just go for it. So I took the plunge, and within the first day I wrote a piece that was just intended to really just be a play. So I just went through all the different sections that interested me, had a listen, and layered up some sounds, came up with a piece that was a very simple little piece, just a couple of minutes, like a library piece really, probably destined for a future album. Then Spitfire dropped the video of Celine that they'd paid a lot of money to have made, and it looks very pretty, and it's all very kind of fantastical, and it's a selection of Earth Mothers and all their finery, and they invited us to have a go at scoring it. Now, I probably won't directly bother with scoring it. There's people who can do that, I'm sure, better than me. However, I did just try sticking it onto the existing piece that I'd done on the first day, and it kind of worked. So with a tiny bit of mangling and tiny bit of shifting things around, just to catch some hit points and what have you, I thought I'd just use that to have a little look at the library today. So I'll play you the piece with the video, and let's just have a little listen to this. So it's a very beautiful video. So as I say, my piece not really written to picture, but it's quite an interesting experiment just to see how something completely not written for picture can apply. Probably not that well, but hey, let's have a listen.
It's not that you haven't been here, it's that you are here, it's that you all are here.
go. So that's sort of, you know, it's in the mood of, and I think probably I was writing in the mood of because a lot of the promotional material released prior to Celine becoming available as a video was also in that mood, and because the library does lend itself to a certain style, so some of the concerns that we all might end up sounding the same might be valid and justified in that respect. But I'll just quickly take you through the piece because it shows how these sounds can layer up nicely together. Usually when I'm writing, I would do one of two things, well, one of three things. The first would be, if I'm commissioned, I'll just do what I'm told and go to that brief. The second would be, I use this method quite a lot. You can see that I just very basically draw out in order, just using shapes or words that make sense to me, just to really visualize a sequence and where I want hit points to be and where I want things to build. That's quite a useful thing for me to do. And the third way, which is the way I did this track, is just to freestyle it and see what comes out and see how I can edit things on the go, which is the freest way, and they all yield results in different ways, obviously. But as I say, I think it's interesting that having approached the track in that way, then trying to make it somehow make sense with a picture without adjusting and editing it too much, which I haven't done, is quite interesting. So if we have a listen up to some of these things, let's jump in here. We've got the first sound actually isn't from Solstice. This is from Labs, Arctic Swells, but it's, you know, works as well. Now here, these are some of the winds. So that's, you can hear that sort of overblowing sound that comes from those. I forget what they're called. Are they the callers? Can't quite. Yeah, callers. I think they are. They're a collection of pipes and flutes and things. Now these ones, these are the plucked elements. These are from the Blackguards, and I think Generators. I'm not yet familiar with all of the Generator Trio, which is some electric guitars, and the Blackguards, which has a few different plucky elements. But yeah, now one of my favourite sections is this, the gut section, which is these beautiful kind of mandolin and guitar figures. So I've got a nice, just a little pattern. So already you can see, if we just go to that first collection, it's instant mood. So then I went and just really had a play with some of the kits. Now here, that I'm a bit of a snob about using the pre-programmed grooves, but I really shouldn't be, because there's some great creativity there, and like I said, they are all, you know, pretty much they're the product of someone else's creativity. But if you use that as a raw material and you put that into your own work with enough jiggling around that it becomes part of your creativity, I shouldn't really have an issue with that. I've just always been someone who would rather program my own Usually, probably 9 times out of 10 I'll program my own. So using the kits has been great. So I'm just getting a little groove together there. However, here I did use a little shaker, like well, it's a little groove, isn't it? But again, about trying to make it not be sounding like everyone else, you monkeying around with things to change them. What I did was I bounced it down and then beat shifted it. So instead of it being the accent being on the beat, which we can hear if I just layer it up with the I just shifted it along and put the last 8 on the front, and you get it off the beat. So it's not revolutionary or anything, but it just gives it a different feel. So mute that again. And then you get, let's just listen to them on their own. Yeah, anyway, so I mean, I'm not totally convinced that it needs the rhythmical element in this track, but as I say, I was just playing around with all the different things. This next bit is actually I've only just got my hands on hybrid keys, so I just had a little, there's just a little nice keys patch, very open. So yeah, this, I've skipped one here. This is the kind of melodic element in this piece, which is from the nursery. Total Halloween, magic, Harry Potter stuff. I mean, yeah, this one might be everywhere. But again, if I was writing something like this, I probably would layer up a glockenspiel and a celeste and maybe a little toy thing that I record myself, which is kind of what they've done here. So I don't think I would produce much of a different effect from this. But this is just beautifully recorded and balanced and mixed, so why wouldn't I use it as a raw ingredient? Just obviously making sure not to quantize things too much. I'm playing in octaves with the lower note first, we give it a little plinky plonky plink, and I find that if I do quantize, which with orchestral stuff the rule usually is you mustn't, but if I do quantize with some of these looser samples, because they're combinations of instruments already somewhat loosely played, I find that even if you quantize it, you can get away with that because they still sound natural. You do have to sometimes drag them back past the point here, which you can see I've been doing. Well, either I've done that or that's me playing ahead of the beat, who knows. I can't remember now. Here's the bass onto the strings now. Not much to be said about that, that's just the bass. Now here I've started layering up with some other libraries, so I've got some mostly Spitfire, I have to say, keep it in the family, why not? Some Spitfire, these are my favourite lead violins, the long Rachmaninoff Molto Vib from Spitfire Symphonic Strings. But then of course Tundra, Albion Tundra layers up beautifully with Solstice. They share quite a lot of DNA. That's that kind of Scandi thing, and I think things were recorded at the edge of silence was a marketing sentence I remember from that product release. But it really does layer up beautifully with some of these Solstice instruments. So I mean, this is just a lovely listen to these ricochets bouncing around left and right, really nice. I should probably use them more, or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should try and be more original. The odd little string run, this is from Albion's runs, which you can't hear because it's buried. And Gypsy Shorts from Tundra. they're so full of character, those shorts. That again, I've had to drag everything back a little because they're quite loosely played, but yeah, they're really great. Now for the vocals, these are the hosts. Obviously, if I was gonna, which I probably am gonna turn it into a library track, I need to tidy up some of these ends and make sure we're legato and tidy up some of this automation. But I'm just giving you an idea today. This is from the Edward Teleronte engine, the Celtia. I've just got the demo version of engine, and I wanted some solo vocal, so I played this in. And you hear it on its own like that, and you can hear that it's been played on a synth, on a keyboard, rather than being sung live. But you can monkey around. Before I bounced it down, I blended in some of those parts and cut them up and crossfaded them, and it's like, and then just stick a big massive reverb on it. It's not perfect, but in the mix, it works. Now these from the mist, from the pipes. Short little staccato notes with a bit of overblowing, so you get those multiphonics. I'll stick a massive reverb on that one as well. This, and some delay as well on there. This one of my favourite reverbs in Chromaverg is this in the synth section. It's the clean ambient tail, and it just goes. It seems to not get too splishy sploshy, but it gives you that lovely big long tail. I like a long clean tail. Just a few extra little elements here then. So this is the harp, the Elysium harp, that I just literally stuck on that goes with the violin runs. That's signature Nik Haley move. Just stick everything in a moment together. Disgusting reverb at the end. And then, again, just because I'm a bit of a tart, can't help having a few risers in there, but I've layered up some Albion Darwin stuff in here. So there's a Labs Cinematic Swell. Very nice. There's a Darwin hit, and then I've used that Darwin hit to make my own riser by doing the old technique of you bounce that down as one, reverse it and stick it on the front, and then you get the reverse of your hit into the beginning of your hit, which is one of my favorite things to do, and you just get, saves you from using the same risers every time. You can create your own out of your hits, and you can also then obviously layer up hits, reverse that bounce down and turn it into one of these, if that makes sense. So that gives you a quick overview of the track and how it's kind of put together. A few elements outside of Solstice, most of it Solstice. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Is every track using Solstice going to end up sounding just like this? Does this already sound like everything else, or is it original enough to be used in other ways? I don't know. But what I would say is, my first reaction is there is enough here to, as long as you take responsibility for making your piece sound as original as you can, or in the style that you want as you can. And let's not forget, if we're writing library music for use on TV and film, then, well, mostly TV and commercials, whatever. If you're writing for that brief that you're giving yourself, then you are writing in a style. You are expected to produce things that will be used by music supervisors, by producers, that do evoke a certain style of music. So I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel, but I'm just trying to put my stamp on these styles and write in the styles that most appeal to me. And certainly for me, this library operates within my wheelhouse, if you like, or rather I operate in its wheelhouse. There's enough here that sounds good to my ears that I want to play with and put into my music. And if you don't feel that way, then you don't feel that way, and that's fine. Just buy a different library or make your own sounds and all the rest of it. But yeah, this really suits me as a media composer, this approach, and I will certainly be using it on other things and doing my utmost to make it not sound like everyone else's work who was also using Solstice. Whether or not I'm successful remains to be seen. But anyway, that's a little idea about that track. And if you want to, I won't play it again. If you want to hear it with the video, you can go back to the start of the video. I hope that's been useful, and I'll do one of these again when the mood strikes. Bye for now.